balloon. But what actually is Drifloon? Yeah, sure, it's a balloon, but why is it a balloon?
Oh, yes, a balloon. It's perfect. Let's make it steal children away. A cruel, ironic joke on how children let go of balloons. Only in this case, the children let go of the ground.
There is no normal Lockstin when these things are here. Yeah, don't. No, there's more. Don't worry. There's still a bunch of spooky stuff happening, even though Halloween was like weeks ago, maybe even a month. But hey, only 11 more months until next Halloween,
So it sounds like now's the perfect time for scary things.
But thankfully, I have protection from one of my worst fears: spelling, grammar, and communicating. That protection is today's sponsor, by the way, Grammarly. Grammarly is used by over 30 million business professionals, students, writers, and yes, even YouTubers to check their horrifying spelling and grammar. And that's just the free version. With Grammarly Premium, you receive significantly more in-depth feedback to improve your writing and communication further. There's no need to get wrapped up on whether or not your tone will come across correctly, because Grammarly has tone detection to help keep it consistent and clear. Grammarly even has vocabulary suggestions to help you replace overused words. And clarity suggestions can even restructure entire sentences to help you get your points across much more efficiently. Trust me, this is no trick, just a treat. Go to Grammarly.com/Lockstin with the link down below and get not one, not two, but 20% off of Grammarly Premium! It's Thanksgiving in like a week, isn't it? Drifloon! It's known as the Balloon Pokémon, a title it shares with Jigglypuff, a balloon filled with pudding. Anime. Drifloon is a balloon-like creature with 2 long arms that end in cute little hearts. It can use them as hands. Heart hands! The X pattern around its mouth is reminiscent of a bandage or possibly a planned puncture. Typically, when the surface area of a balloon or any stretched elastic is pierced, it causes a rupture or a pop. But if you limit it with tape or something rigid, it keeps it to a small area, and I guess Game Freak needed this Objectmon to have a mouth. See how it gives it like a little point where the tape is? Works just like that.
So here's a fun fact. There's so much medical equipment that needs to use helium to work, and helium's also a finite resource. In other words, we're wasting it all on balloons. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Consumerism! At least that's what I was planning on saying. But it turns out the helium that they use in balloons is too low quality for the medical equipment, so really we're just putting to use garbage. So no need to worry about balloons. They're still bad for the environment, though. Because people let them go. They go free, and they crash and pollute the place.
Oh, but also, pro tip, if you yourself are kidnapping children, one of the best things to do is
take the most footprint with miniature pieces of tape before shoving them into a van. That way, they can't scrape away.
morbid. Actually, Game Freak kind of went all out with the Hindenburg jokes on poor Drifblim. It learns explosion. Its normal ability is Aftermath, which also involves explosions. Its hidden ability is Flare Boost, which increases its speed when on fire, like when speeding towards the ground. Bear in mind it's not fire type, so it takes damage from a burn. And it can breed with ghost and fire types. I mean, that's just hilarious, right? Yeah, she gets it. I mean, it's not too soon for a joke like that, right? I mean, that was 84 years ago. In 60 more years, we may get a Latios that knows Skydrop, Giga Impact, and Gmax Meltdown. For a change of topic, For a change of topic, let's talk about Drifloon's Pokedex entry, the real reason we're all here.
It tugs at the hands of children to steal them away.
However, it gets pulled around instead. Aww, it's only attempting kidnapping! Well, in the Japanese versions, the Pokedex doesn't say that it kidnaps them, it just says that it brings them to the world of the dead. Yeah, they die.
So spooky!
Ah, a classic creature of the night, a true ghost. The classic action of stealing children and screaming eerily. Here's another Pokedex entry. If for some reason its body bursts, its soul spills out with a screaming sound. Oh! It's filled with souls! This is later reinforced by Drifblim's latest entry. Some say this Pokemon is a collection of souls burdened with regrets, silently drifting through the dusk. And back to the loon, turns out it's known as the signpost for wandering spirits because of its aimless drifting. So this little balloon has a recurring theme of being weak. I mean, it can't steal heavy children and gets blown around by the wind all the time. Heck, in Sun's Dex entry, it even states, stories go that it grabs the hands of small children and drags them away to the afterlife. It dislikes heavy children. No fat kids! But yeah, they just drift around. Hence the name, actually. There's even a little Easter egg of it floating in the background of the Palkia Dialga fight if you fight it on a Friday.
He's just standing there, menacingly!
As both balloons and wandering spirits do. Moaning and meandering, trapped between our realm and the realm of the dead, unable to move on. Now let's delve into some possible non-balloon origins. It may look just like a little balloon with two hand tails, but what balloon has that normally? Yeah, basically none. And that's where the jellyfish comes in. Jellyfish are also drifters of the ocean, just meandering along with the current, barely in control of their own motions. And the comb jellyfish, specifically the tentaculata, which is also the inspiration for Tentacool's name, happens to be balloon shapes and have 2 tendrils.
Plus it's spooky!
And keeping with the jellyfish idea, there are things called atmospheric jellyfish, which are a type of UFO, a cryptid of sorts, stated to be seen by many people floating up into the atmosphere. In fact, they are still being sighted. Back in 2015, there was a Dutch one that's pretty impressive looking. Even NASA has seen one. As for me, though, a non-scientist or even a non-crypto pseudo-scientist, I think that these are probably localized aurora borealisi entirely in people's windows, or possibly odd lens flares. But what do the experts think? According to NASA, these creatures may be the result of space debris reflecting off of the northern lights. So while not technically a cryptid, they are pretty cool and spooky looking. Plus, Plus, they just kind of disappear, just like what Drifloon and Drifblim are stated to do. At dusk, swarms of them are carried aloft on the winds. When noticed, they suddenly vanish. Do the Japanese have, like, a thing with balloons? Well, yeah, actually. They like balloons. From origami water balloons to World War II weapons, they got balloons for days. Specifically the Ikkyo, or living spirit, also known as shoryo. It's the idea of spirits or disembodied ghosts. While they have many descriptions, a few seem to resemble balloons. As described in Kono Ensuke's Japanese Kaiden collection, Ghosts, which is basically a collection of ghost stories from the Edo period, the author mentions that there are cases of floating balloon-like objects of iridescent color as an omen of death. There was also the whole will-o'-the-wisp vibe known as onibi in Japan, another common Pokemon inspiration that may play a role in Drifblim being a hot air balloon and all, and breeding with fire types, and having all those fire-type abilities, because it's the Hindenburg. But, like, are balloons inherently scary? I mean... Ah! Yes, they are! They can make loud noises at any time! How terrifying! Ah! Yeah, I mean, there's that, but also it specifically has to do with a horror character who has since been cemented in pop culture. Balloon Guy. Wait, no. The hallway from The Shining? No. Also no. No. The creature from It! That's it. Stephen King's wonderful book. If you don't know the details, he's like the pop horror writer of our time. And Pennywise the Clown has since joined up with other horror icons like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees. Though while those characters are much more popular in the US, It, aka its clown form Pennywise, has seen a lot more international success since its 1990 film. In fact, in 2019, It had some crossover. This is what you make me do. You are distracting, and you need to leave. In 2019, It had some crossover art done with the kids of Mr. Osumatsu, a popular manga and anime. And would you look at that? A kid trapped in a balloon, kidnapping him away. Pennywise nearly always has a red balloon with it. I mean, balloons are inherently a clown's tool. They are cute, cheap, and easy to be given to children to create happiness. Balloon animals are one of the main attractions for clown performers, but then the 1970s happened and ruined most of the world. But specifically for our purposes here, an American serial killer who dressed like a clown to lure kids and teens to him to abduct them happened. Kind of started the whole stranger danger, don't take candy or balloons from strangers thing. As well as a lot of creepy killer clown business. And similarly, Pennywise uses a clown appearance and red balloons to attract children over and eat them after abducting them. Balloons and kidnapping. But kids and bright colors and balloons. The bright color is sharp against the dark, twisted background colors. This works well in creating tension in the film too, because we as a society have imbued balloons as an innocent, kind thing. We associate them with parties, celebrations, childhood, fun, and also childhood's fragility. There are actually a few fan theories about its balloons and why they appear so often, and it's got to do with its true form, described as a cosmic horror known simply as the Deadlights. The popular fan theory suggests that the balloons are a representation of the Deadlights and contain the souls of the children killed by it. The Deadlights could be then described as a sea of bright orange balloons, which Pennywise takes a bit literally. What makes the balloons float is not helium, but the souls of the children Pennywise has killed. Hence his famous, "They all float down here" quote. An innocent child's plaything, a balloon containing a soul that is then used to attract and abduct kids that grab it. Sounds like a Drifloon to me. And this wouldn't even be the only time Pokemon has referenced this horror icon. Blacephalon, with its literal, mind-blowing cosmic horror clown motifs, also pulls from it. We did a video about that a few years ago, linked here. But why evolve into a hot air balloon? Well, what else is a balloon going to evolve into, you know? And with its 4 tentacles now, maybe it's a box jellyfish of sorts. One of the deadliest. Fun fact, some jellyfish rise higher in the ocean when the water is warm and sink to unknown dark depths when it's cooler. Just like a hot air balloon in the sky. Oh, here's a Pokedex entry. Drifblim float around as they please during the day, but at night they drift off to who knows where. Apparently some of the clam pearl they've carried away are still missing. Why mention clam pearl there specifically? It can't be because of Stephen King's other novel, Pearl, could it? Nah, that'd be dumb.
No wonder he has a smile.